Welcome to another issue or episode of Dr. James Beckett Sports Card Insights. As you can see from the title, today I'm going to talk about a couple of shortstops, a couple of White Sox shortstops, grouping them together. I was thinking when I was contemplating doing this podcast, I thought if I do a podcast a day, I'm going to have 250 podcasts in a year, and over 4 years, that would be 1,000. What am I going to talk about? And I thought, well, if I talked about some of the players, some of the sets, some of the issues, lots of interviews, it still adds up to a lot of episodes. I thought, well, why don't I just kind of look at some of the Hall of Fame players in each of the sports? I don't necessarily want to only do the most popular ones, but so I looked at Hank Aaron, whom I will do at some point, but I just thought, what if I do, as I experiment, what if I do a couple of Hall of Famers together, a couple of shortstops, a couple of White Sox shortstops, and lump together Louis Aparicio and Luke Appling. They're both same initials. They're next to each other in the alphabetical list of Hall of Famers. So let's see how that works. I've got great sponsors, as I want to remind you. Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentication, ComC, Burbank Sports Cards, Mike's Stadium Sports Cards, Heritage Auctions, Huggins and Scott Auctions, Panini, Topps, and Upper Deck. Great sponsors. Please patronize them. Excellent companies all. Today's issue, though, these two L period, A period shortstops both had long, distinguished careers. Both are in the Hall of Fame. They're maybe 25 years apart. Let's start with Louis Aparicio. He never played any other position other than shortstop, and he was a great shortstop. He was the second, I believe, of the great Venezuelan shortstops. I think Chico Carrasquel, whose name has come up in a previous episode because he was part of the conduit for getting back into Venezuela and getting some of the Topps Venezuelan cards because he paved the way for that. But Chico, again, another White Sox shortstop, but he went first. And then after that, after that would probably be Dave Concepcion. And then after that, perhaps Ozzie Guillen and Omar Vizquel, and now even Elvis Andrus is Venezuelan shortstop. So something about how they play the game or teach the game there creates a pipeline. So excellent. Concepcion and Vizquel, highly regarded players. We'll see. They both have merits for being very collectible. Aparicio, 56 Topps, was his rookie card, not particularly tough. What is tough from 1956 is his yellow base path pin. I've had a handful of those. I mean, I've seen some of them, but those are very tough. In fact, it's the same price as his Topps rookie card. And frankly, it's way, way, way tougher, but it is a pin. But, again, a very, collectible piece of, Aparicio in his rookie year. 58 Topps, the yellow team variation. I've discussed this before. It's tougher, but it's too subtly different perhaps to have that much demand to drive up the price, but it's tougher. As you look through the, Beckett OPG, you see a lot of J publishing photos, different years, different prices. They're basically 5x7s that were team packs, generally 12 to a team. Once they get out of the packs, it's hard to know what year they came from. There's different poses and sometimes similar poses or same poses. So knowing the year, and so even though there's different prices for every year, I think if I were involved now in the pricing, I would be looking for, I'm just not sure the marketplace has that much differential pricing on the 5x7s, whether they're 58 or 63. It's a Louis Aparicio and it ought to be worth $10 or something like that. The 60 leaf, the full face variation is not even, I don't even want to call it a variation. I don't believe it was ever in a pack. I think it was a promo or a salesman sample, but really, really tough. And when you see those 60 leaf, those promo cards, they're very noticeable compared to the regular ones. 60 Topps, another interesting card for Aparicio. The World Series card that year, I don't know what game it was, he's actually, I think, sliding in, and Maury Wills is taking the throw at second base as a shortstop, and that's noteworthy because Maury Wills was not signed by Topps. In fact, they apparently did not sign him when he was a minor leaguer, perhaps one of Seiberger's few mistakes, but they didn't sign him. And then when he did come up, he either refused to sign with Topps, but he's incidentally on that card. I don't think he shows up till 67 in Topps, and of course he's got the 63 Fleer, and was not a well-regarded prospect who, when he was such a great base stealer, he became an excellent player. His 61 Topps high number. Again, just these are the years I collected. He's in 59, 60, and 61 as the AL All-Star shortstop. That's well-deserved, but of those, the 61 Topps is by far the toughest. He's got a trio, again, of 62 Jello, 62 Post, 62 Post Canadian. Again, the 62 Jello, way tougher. Post Canadian, tougher than regular Post, except for some of the tough boxes. But these are the issues where you really need a price guide and an informative catalog that's not just giving you the price, but giving you some of the concept of which cards are shorter printed or run tougher boxes of cereal. And I may have told you in my origin story, I was in Chicago in 59, and that was a great Go-Go White Sox year for them. Luke Appling. Old Aches and Pains. How do you like to have a nickname like that? He played not in the dark ages of baseball, but in kind of the lesser produced years of baseball with cards. His career was from 1931 to 1950, and so he picked up a little bit of Leaf and Bowman at the very end, a little bit of Gowdy on the front, a little bit of stuff in the middle, but there weren't a lot of cards during World War II. In fact, he lost a couple years of playing to World War II. Otherwise, his career numbers would have been greater. His original Hall of Fame voting, I read where he only got 2 votes, and that's what you call low. In fact, you can get eliminated from the ballot if you. But later on, when they did the Old Timers Committee, he actually got in. One of the ways you can tell whether somebody is a major Hall of Famer or a minor Hall of Famer is not just by how many votes they get, but kind of how long it takes them to get into the Hall of Fame. So the prominence and the notoriety of the player, it's somewhat proportional. So Luke Appling was an excellent player. Many considered him the best shortstop, or at least American League shortstop of his of when he played. Covered a lot of ground, and was a good hitter, but he did not instantly get in the Hall of Fame, and neither did Aparicio, even though he was an excellent player as well. I would say when I look at the cards that Appling has, and I start out with what might be considered rookie cards, he's got a WF574 that says it's from 1932, which would be a rookie or pre-rookie. It's actually a White Sox. But it's blank back, and one of the problems with those W issues, for those of you who are more advanced collectors, I mean, they're generally, those are cards that have uncertain year. So I'm not willing to say definitively that it's 1932, but it's thought to be 1932. If so, it'd be certainly an early card. 31, 32 exhibits, the 4-in-1s, those are really cool cards. I really like them, especially when they have a nice configuration of the 4 players on the same team. It's unlikely, and that's a lumped together price guide situation where the 31s and the 32s are difficult to distinguish, I believe. So he undoubtedly was not included in 31. He would be 32 because he didn't really was not distinguished until 32. So his 34 Gowdy is his kind of a designated rookie card, but the Worldwide Gum V354, which is the Canadian equivalent, is and this is, not newsflash or spoiler alert, but, Brian Fleischer and his team do a great job. But I don't know, either there's not enough sales to justify a higher price for that particular card, but I believe it's the same pose as the Gowdy and way, way, way tougher. And yet priced a lot less. So if there's future sales of that, I wouldn't be surprised if they would go for a lot more. So Luke Appling didn't have a lot of cards. One other interesting card that I've actually had a problem with that I had is the V351B. It's one of these, it's like the Gowdy premiums, but it's the Worldwide Gum premiums, and they're actually trimmed premiums. And it's very confusing because it looks like, I just did an issue prior on trimmed cards. This was legitimately trimmed for some reason by the company. But I've had them actually rejected because they were trimmed, when in reality they are all trimmed. So it causes a different definition or nuanced definition of trim. But Luke Appling was a veteran player, manager, coach, had a lot of decades of involvement, and was I think a pretty beloved member of the White Sox organization. Rich Klein was reminding me that in an old timers game when Luke Appling was 70 something, he actually hit it turned out it was a short field home run, but he hit one over the fence when he was in his, I believe, early mid 70s. So an amazing guy. Both of them are amazing. And, lest we disrespect minor Hall of Famers, I mean, every baseball player that makes the big leagues was an outstanding player at every level up to that point. And those who are fortunate enough to get in the Hall of Fame are even the ones that aren't the absolute superstars were still great players in their own right. So they're worthy of attention. I'll be back with some other issues, sets, players as we get further down the road. I did get a request for a physical address. So it's 5600 West Lovers Lane. That'd be Suite 116-301, and it's Dallas, Texas 75209. That'd be a physical address. But if you just have a question, just send it to Dr. James Beckett, DOCTOR, jamesbeckett@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to address your concerns. Looking forward to, I've already gotten a few comments and some feedback to where I can address those in future issues, which I'm delighted to do. So thanks for your listening, and have a great day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. The man in the house of cards is doing